Welcome back. You're still watching The Globe on the SABC News Channel. US President Donald Trump has defied requests to stay away and has arrived in Kenosha in Wisconsin. Trump offered support for law enforcement in a city affected by civil unrest after a white police officer shot a black man in the back. The president visited a burnt-out furniture store that was destroyed in the upheaval and a makeshift command center to praise the National Guard troops who were reinforcing local police. Moe Vella was a senior advisor to Vice President and current presidential candidate Joe Biden, and he joins us now via Skype. Thanks so much indeed, Moe, for joining us. Good to have you on the program again.
It's always great to be with you, Peter. Thank you for having me back.
All right, the last time we spoke, the Democrats were in the middle of their convention. The Republicans then had theirs. When you compare the two, what would you say were the big takeouts that takes us to what we're seeing now?
Well, let's start with the Republicans because, frankly, they're obsessed with fear. I think the last thing they have in their toolbox is trying to scare Americans about just complete fabrications and falsities about Joe Biden and the America that Joe Biden will lead us back to, by the way, because frankly, you know how I feel about it. I think I said it the last time I was on with you. Our democracy is literally on the ballot. I really believe our democracy is at stake. I thought the Democratic Convention, frankly, gave us hope and made us realize that with the right leadership, like with Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, that we actually can bring back and restore that America that most people respected around the world and loved, frankly.
And I suppose then, and I started there because I'm trying to make sense of the things that are playing out now. So we saw Kenosha go up in flames again because of a police shooting. And then there was a young man, Carl Rittenhouse, kills 2 people, injures others. And it seems the president isn't speaking out against this young man in particular.
Actually, frankly, it looks like he defended the young man. It is the most despicable behavior from a leader of the free world that I've ever seen in my lifetime. I'm frankly appalled and I'm shocked. I'm old enough to remember the Republican Party in the United States being against violence of any kind. And now you have Donald Trump literally fueling the fire, stoking the racism, and actually thinking, I think in his feeble and weak mind, he really believes that the more violence there is the only chance he has of winning, which is absolutely appalling and absurd, scary, unsettling, and absolutely unacceptable, Peter. It's just disgusting.
So is the tactic to allow this violence to happen so that he can send in the National Guard and then be seen as the president of law and order?
The irony of the whole thing is, first of all, in Wisconsin, let's talk about facts. The governor had already sent in the National Guard. It was not Donald Trump who sent it in to start solving the problem. The governor, who's a Democrat, I might add, and by the way, also asked the president not to come to Wisconsin, as did the mayor of Kenosha, asked him please not to come, but he did it anyway. Again, he is flailing, he's losing, he's desperate. I say to you and to your viewers, this is a dangerous combination from a man like Donald Trump. When they feel they're losing and they're desperate, I worry about the fact that he will do whatever he can to retain power. This is a very dangerous and volatile time here in the United States, and him going to Kenosha proves me right. He will do whatever he has to do to stoke that fire and try to salvage this race for himself. And what he doesn't understand, Peter, is the majority of Americans don't share his values. We still are a compassionate people. We still are inclusive people. We're an equality-minded people. We love, we don't hate. We include, we don't exclude. We don't divide, we bring people together. That's who Joe Biden is. And Donald Trump just doesn't get it, Peter.
So what is Mr. Trump trying to do in Kenosha? I mean, as you say, the governor said, look, don't come here because it's probably inflammatory. Why is he there?
Because the only thing he has left that he feels from a message perspective was this quote unquote law and order message. And by the way, if you haven't taken any time to look at his tweets, he tweets it in all caps as if somehow that's going to make it true. As Joe Biden said yesterday, you can say it as often as you want to, Mr. Trump, but it doesn't make it true. The fact of the matter is, Peter, that we have lawlessness right now and disorder. And guess who's in charge? Donald Trump. This is Donald Trump's America that he's complaining about. So you can't create a problem and then try to pretend you are the solution when you are part of the problem. That is why he went to Kenosha, because he keeps trying to act like he's a part of the solution when he cannot take responsibility for the fact that he is clearly part of the problem.
And also, there was questions raised about him calling the family of Jacob Blake. It seemed as if he was going to, and then it didn't happen. What can you tell us about what played out?
Well, my understanding is that he claimed that they wanted to have their attorney present and then that he spoke to their family pastor. Immediately, the family came out and said, we don't have a family pastor. So this is just lie and fabrication number what? 18,900 and something in almost 4 years. The man is a pathological liar. Again, trying to take the civil unrest, and how disgraceful is it when your son was shot in the back 7 times, in the back 7 times, and you, Donald Trump, are looking into cameras and telling the world that you would have talked to the family or you spoke to the family pastor when there isn't even one. You're trying to make political gain out of somebody's catastrophe. This is a very sad time for them. There's most likely this gentleman will be paralyzed for the rest of his life because of 7 bullets in his back. This is not the time to play politics. But that's who this despicable man is.
And again, President Trump speaking about supporting law enforcement and the police. And I suppose some might say that that's code to say we support the man who wore the uniform that shot Jacob Blake.
Yeah, but let's be clear about something, Peter. I don't know one Democrat, and Joe Biden said this yesterday, I don't know one Democrat, one person in my party, who doesn't agree that the vast majority of law enforcement in the United States are decent, honorable, and heroic Americans. The vast majority. We have some bad apples. We've got to get them out. We've got to stop their racist behavior. But that doesn't make all law enforcement bad. Most protesters are peaceful. There are some bad actors that are looting and rioting and burning things down. We must stop them as well. So you can't throw out the baby with the bathwater. So I don't know anybody who does not honor and respect and celebrate the contribution of law enforcement in our nation. We love them, we respect them, we appreciate them when they behave in a respectful manner. But for those that are kneeling on people's necks because of the color of their skin or shooting innocent people in the back 7 times, that is wrong. It was wrong yesterday, it's wrong today, and it will forever be wrong. But so is burning down a furniture store. So bad people need to stop, and we need to find out who they are on both sides and stop them, period.
Why won't President Trump speak out against this young 17-year-old who shot these 2 people? Why won't he just say, that was wrong, you shouldn't have done it?
Because the man knows only one thing, and that is politically driven answers to try to gain politically and retain power. If he does what every respectable human being in the world would do and denounce and rebuke violence, including Mr. Rittenhouse shooting and killing those two people and injuring the third person. Vigilante murders, I might add. It's the right thing to do is say that is not allowed in this country. It's not allowed anywhere in the world. It's wrong. And the reason he will not rebuke or denounce Kyle Rittenhouse is because it will disappoint his base. This is all politics for him. This is not about humanity. I am not absolutely convinced the man even has a heart, to be honest with you. I'm not.
So what are we going to see likely in the next weeks as we get to the election? Will it be more kind of drawing the lines of, yes, I'm extreme and this is what you're going to vote for, because he's challenged in terms of trying to put something genuine on the table?
That's exactly right. He has backed himself into a very hateful, divisive corner, full of racism in that corner. And you said it very well. I call it drawing a line in the sand. I think what you saw from Joe Biden yesterday is what you're going to see for the next 60 whatever days till the election. And that is, you cannot bully a kid who grew up in Scranton and who was bullied because he had a stutter. You can't bully him. Growing up in Scranton, growing up in Delaware, there's no way Joe Biden's going to tolerate being bullied by Donald Trump. He's going to draw a line in the sand just like he did yesterday, and he's going to tell the truth to the American people, and he's going to point out the absolute hatred and evil that possesses Donald Trump. And if you want to vote for him, then you vote for hatred, racism, and evil. Go right ahead. But you have to live with your conscience. You have to live with the karma that results from it.
So what is it about Donald Trump that his supporters like and want?
I personally, this is my opinion and my opinion only, but I have tried as a 40-year political scientist to serve my country twice in the White House, as you know, who's been in this business a long, long time. I cannot genuinely answer that question with any sense of intelligence, intellect, or rationality. I just can't. I have no idea how or why any reasonable-minded person with any goodness in their heart would support somebody so full of hatred and evil and division. I don't get it. The only thing I can come up with, Peter, the only thing, and I'm going to get hate mail for saying this, but it is the only thing I can conclude. He is somehow resonating with the worst part of them as a human being. Somehow the lowest common denominator between his supporters and him has to be some semblance of racism or fear of somebody who's different than they are, or who loves somebody different than they do, or has a different skin color than they do, or may have a different socioeconomic status than they do. That's all I can conclude, that it's a fear of difference, rather than celebrating the fact that we are all brothers and sisters. All of us are the human family. And how you could be fearful of somebody because they might love somebody different, or they may look a little different than you, or they may speak differently or speak a different language. I have no idea how anybody could come to that conclusion.
All right. So at the Democratic Convention, we saw people like Colin Powell, former Governor Kasich, endorsing Joe Biden. And again, something that we've never seen before, Republicans saying vote for the Democrat. Does that point to some Republicans generally saying, you know, I love my party, but I don't love my candidate?
I think it says that these Republicans, first of all, are decent, traditional, real Republicans. Trump's party is not the traditional Republican Party, Peter. There's no way. The John McCains and the Ronald Reagans and the George H.W. Bush and George W. Bush, these are presidents and leaders and the Republican Party who would never stand for what this man stands for. But these are Republicans that are coming out for Joe Biden because I'll tell you what the message is. They love our country more than they do party politics. And I admire them. It takes courage to do that. It's the right thing to do. And I respect the heck out of them for doing it. And that's, by the way, it's not just Colin Powell and Governor Kasich. It's thousands of Republicans who are supporting Joe Biden. Thousands. And every day, more and more of them are openly suggesting to their fellow Republicans, you got to love this nation and you've got to love our democracy enough to save it. And voting for Donald Trump would be the demise and destruction of our democracy. So to those Republicans, I say thank you. Thank you for loving our country, because we need them on our side right now.
All right, so as soon as Kenosha is done, he will have gone there thinking he's going to get something done. What do you think the message will be generally to Americans after he's finished his trip?
I'm just a bunch of fuel on a fire. That's what his message is. That's how we all are going to look at it. You had no business going there. What were you there for other than for political gain? And you know what? I think people are sick and tired of it. They see right through it. There's nothing good that could come from him being there today. Nothing. Not one thing. If anything, it just reminded us, Peter, it is just highlighting for us that he actually believes in Kyle Rittenhouse more than he does in all of the victims of systemic racism, the victims of police brutality, and the victims of hate across the nation and around the world. That's what he's reminding us of. He stands with the violence. He defends the violence. That's what the message is today.
All right. Moe Vella, always good talking to you. Thank you so much indeed for joining us. And we'll catch up with you again soon. I have no doubt about that.
I look forward to it. Thank you for having me again.
Thank you so much. All right, so that was Moe Vella talking to us about President Trump's visit to Kenosha in Wisconsin. And yeah, the governor there said, please don't come, but he came anyway. And this, of course, is where Jacob Blake was shot 7 times in the back by a policeman. Riots followed, and a young white man, Kyle Rittenhouse, I think, shot and killed 2 people, injured a 3rd, and he's being tried as an adult, even though he's 17, for homicide.